In 2018, the Australian Human Rights Commission conducted a survey. It was a National Sexual Harassment survey. From that survey, the 2020 Respect at Work report was published. Now, the 2020 Respect at Work report found that 39%, or 2 in 5 women, and 26% of men, 1 in 4 men, had experienced sexual harassment in the workplace in the previous 5 years. Now, the 2020 Respect at Work report, in my opinion, was a real game changer, because as a result of that report, there were significant changes to laws relating to workplace discrimination, workplace sexual discrimination, and workplace sexual harassment. These included the creation of the Sexual Harassment Stop Order and a change in a definition of serious misconduct to include sexual harassment. Now, if you'd like to know more, please click the link in this video, at the bottom of this video. That will take you to my website, and it will provide you with more details on the Respect at Work report. Also, please subscribe to the channel, like the video. Thanks. Now, the Respect at Work report. This was the game changer. The Respect at Work report basically it detailed the findings of the 2018 Sexual Harassment Survey. And what the survey found was that in the last 5 years, 39% of women and 26% of men had been sexually harassed in the past 5 years. The women were predominantly sexually harassed by men. The men were predominantly sexually harassed by men. So the survey identified a number of behaviours, such as comments, suggestive comments and jokes, intrusive questions, offensive questions about a person's sexuality, asking out, pressuring for sex, inappropriate touching. It showed that both males and females can be victims and harassers. The 2022 survey, now bear in mind most of the legislation changed in 2021 and 2022, so I really don't think the 2022 survey reflected much in the way of the effect of the changes to law, because the statistics are pretty much the same. Okay, 1 in 3 workers in the last 5 years. It basically outlined most sexual harassment carried out by men. Half of the incidents were repeated. Now, disappointingly, reporting remains low at only 18%, and only 1/3 of Australian workers think their organisation is doing enough. Now, that may change because of the creation of the new positive duty, which I'm going to talk about. So there's the statistics. It hasn't changed much. As you can see, 41% for women instead of 39%, and 26% consistent for the men. It again also identified some common types. Suggestive comments and jokes, 27% of respondents indicated that, and 40% men, 14% women. Intrusive questions, again 23% of respondents, and a higher amount of women than men. Inappropriate staring, again 19% of respondents indicated that, and a much higher percentage of women than men. Unwelcome touching, hugging, again much higher women. Inappropriate physical contact, again 26% of women, 11% of men. So they were the areas that the survey identified as the typical examples of sexual harassment that people reported. It also looked at where in the workplace, and common places, 38% said at their workstations and in break areas and lunchrooms. So the Respect at Work made 55 recommendations. Some involved increased training, education strategies that address sexual harassment. Some affect employers. Some recommendations affect employees. So, 2021. This is where they started making changes to the Fair Work Act. And what they did is they created the stop order.
Similar to the bullying stop order. So a person can go to the Fair Work Commission if they've been sexually harassed and ask for a stop order made against the person who's harassing them. As with the bullying orders, it's intended to prevent the risk of future harm. So if the person's left the organisation or you've left the organisation, you won't be given the order. I recommend that you initially speak to your employer before seeking orders at the Commission. Give them the opportunity to do something about it. Obviously, if they don't, you have the opportunity to go to the Fair Work Commission. They changed the valid reason for dismissal in that they added 2 words to the definition of serious misconduct in the Fair Work Regulations at 1.07. Now, serious misconduct is grounds for instant dismissal. So payment only up to the time of dismissal, no 4 weeks in lieu of notice. And in the past, and for most cases, serious misconduct is serious misconduct. Simply that. It's bad behaviour. So when I saw this, that they've just added these 2 words at point number 4, I thought, I wonder what the regulations mean. What does a Fair Work regulation mean when it talks about sexual harassment? Lo and behold, it took me see section 28A of the Act. A reasonable person would have anticipated the possibility that the person harassed would be humiliated or intimidated. I believe it can be argued that the bar for summary dismissal, instant dismissal, has been lowered. It would be very difficult to go to the Fair Work Commission and argue that the dismissal was unfair. I think you'd have to prove it didn't happen. If you would like information about the Australian Workplace Training Investigation Sexual Harassment Training Programs, please contact me either via email, inquiries at awpti.com.au, or you can contact me via the website, which is www.awpti.com.au. Now, training can be provided in person, remotely via Zoom or Teams, or in a video version. As I mentioned, I've got several different types of programs, and they can be found at this location on my website, and I'll put this also in the description of this video. So I have an employee version. This is a standard version for all employees, which talks about what is sexual harassment, the fact it's unlawful, and what to do if someone is subjected to or witnesses sexual harassment in the workplace. There's a managers and supervisors version. Now, that covers the same material as the employee version, and you can see the complete list of what's in the programs on that link that I provided on the previous slide, and it will be in the description of the video. Now, the manager supervisor version, in addition to what's in the employee version, provides advice and information of what managers and supervisors can do or should do if they are confronted by sexual harassment, whether they witness it themselves or whether someone comes and reports an incident of sexual harassment to them. There's the organisational version. This is a sort of a high-level version about what the organisation should be doing, specifically to minimise sexual harassment and satisfy the new duty of care, which I cover in another video. The custom version. Now, the custom version is where I work with a client to design the version of the training to absolutely suit them. Usually what it does is it includes a number of case studies that they actually work through during the training. Now, in the normal training, I provide examples and get some feedback and talk, ask people questions. But the custom version really goes into more depth in giving people time to really look at an example and come up with, potentially their strategy. Is it sexual harassment? What should they do? Custom version obviously works best in person, or it can work in the remote version. But probably the custom version probably wouldn't work in a video version. The video version is exactly the same presentation as I do if I'm presenting in person. It has an introduction by me, and then I narrate exactly the same slides that I would if I was standing there delivering the information to you. It's not fancy. It doesn't contain fancy videos and animations, which really don't add anything to the training experience. It's about imparting information about what sexual harassment is, the fact it is unlawful and the changes to sexual harassment laws, what to do if you are subjected to it, or what to do if you witness sexual harassment. So exactly the same program, it's just in a video version that organisations can purchase. The one-on-one version. Now, the one-on-one version is for people who've been involved or have engaged in some form of sexual harassment, but the organisation has decided not to dismiss them, and as part of their remedial action, coaching, training, they do this program, and it's the employee version. And quite often when I've done this program, I am open to discussing what their particular issues were or what the particular problems are, and give them some strategies to overcome those problems. As I mentioned, the link to the page on the website with details of the description of the programs is in the description of this video.